Again, we're going to go ahead and continue our conversation on topic number 4, continuing with 4C through D, which really is summarized very nicely with a table. Initially, we're going to go ahead and start with the conditional statement we've been talking about. And if you remember, the conditional statement is simply written P, if P, then Q. And that's the symbolic form, is just that P with the arrow to Q. That's a conditional statement. That's the statement we always start with. From there, we go to the converse. The converse really can be summarized very nicely with just the word switch. We're switching the hypothesis and the conclusion. Remember, the hypothesis being P, the conclusion being Q. So here, we go ahead and we take if Q, then P. That's the converse of the original conditional. So conditional is if P, then Q. Converse is if Q, then P. This next one, we have 4 of them in total, including the conditional. Inverse, which means we're going to negate both. Or I often say not. You'll see why in just a second. What we do is we negate both P, hypothesis, and Q, the conclusion. And as you see, we're writing with the symbol, the negation symbol, that little squiggly line means not. So not P, then not Q. So if not P, then not Q. That's the inverse. And we're negating both of them. Therefore, that's why I call it not. And then the last one we're going to cover with regards to this type of material is we're going to go ahead and talk about the contrapositive. And notice every time we always started with the conditional, we negated both of them going down to the inverse. Now we're going to negate and switch. So here we have if not Q, then not P. So those are the 4 basic related conditional statements we often talk about. Conditional is if P, then Q. Converse is switching it, so it's if Q, then P. The inverse is negating both of them. So if not P, then not Q. It's important that we always realize the inverse, we're still starting with the original conditional and just negating both of them. They don't build on one another. The conditional is the basic statement we have. Its converse is what we had said, the inverse. And the contrapositive, we're negating both and switching them. Moving along to 4E, we have some logic symbols. And these symbols, some of them you've already been seeing. And let's make sure we all understand them. The if-then, as you've seen, is strictly just that arrow. So if-then is we can think of that if-then statement as being sort of summarized with the arrow. If and only if we haven't quite gotten to, but we'll go ahead while we're covering the logic statements, we'll go ahead and comment or put it in our sort of our toolbox of possible symbols. And this one is if and only if. It goes ahead and has arrowheads on both sides. So if we put letters around that, it would be if and only if P, then Q. Something along those lines. Negating, as you saw just a second ago, the negation symbol is just simply that squiggly line. Some simple ones we have are and. We have a symbol for and, a symbol for or, and a symbol for therefore. The and symbol is like that little caret. We flip it over for or, and therefore is three dots sort of in a nice equilateral triangle corners of it. So those are the logic symbols. If then, the arrow, if and only if, is the double arrowhead. Negation is the squiggly line. And is the caret, and or is the V. And then therefore is the vertices of an equilateral triangle. And that is it for 4C through E.